An SUV is right for a lot of people, but not if you buy the wrong one. We drive, test, and review every SUV on sale. We even own a bunch of them as part of our one-year road test fleet. So which ones are the best? From surprising affordable options to three-row family SUVs, we have some thoughts. We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us. Man, for a relatively cheap little thing, the Kona is nice. Tech and practicality are the biggest for this small crossover. Even in the base car at around $27.5 all in, you get a nice big screen, you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a bunch of charging ports. We like that there isn't a lot going on through the touchscreen. Physical controls make the Kona really easy to use. There's also a lot of space up front for your wallet or your phone, bag, sunglasses, whatever. And the trunk is a really impressive size. There's plenty of space in the back seat for people or car seats also. Earlier this year, we got all of the small sub-$30,000 crossovers together to compare back to back, and this is the one that came out on top. Like most SUVs this size, the Kona is easy to drive and park, but it's a little slow and stiff and kinda loud, much more so than you would deal with in a car the size up. Speaking of, if you want something around 40 grand or less with a well-rounded balance of space, comfort, efficiency, and value, you should probably just go with the Kona's bigger sibling, the Hyundai Tucson. The features per dollar value is better than almost anything in the segment, but it's not just about value. We recommend the Tucson Hybrid, which feels like it has more than enough power, is smoother than most from behind the wheel, and it's really comfortable. Like the Kona, tech is a strong point, especially if you get the loaded model with the digital gauge cluster and the blind spot camera. That's one of our favorite driver assists in the industry. Another strength here is interior storage. I love the little shelf ahead of the passenger seat. One bummer is that, like in most SUVs of this size, there aren't many cup holders that'll fit one of those big water bottles, but you can get a sweet configurable cup holder area in the Tucson's corporate cousin, the Kia Sportage. Remember that Hyundai and Kia have the same parent company, and they're basically mechanically identical, but with different interior and exterior design decisions, but they still have a lot of the same strengths. Can't go wrong with either of these two, and they crushed it in our compact SUV big test. And I know, I can read the comments already. We're paid off by Hyundai, how big was that check? There is no ad deal, no bias here. We rate all 200 some vehicles that come into our garage with the same methodology. It's just that Kia and Hyundai are making really good SUVs right now with a lot of value. Another car that really stood out to us in the test is the Toyota RAV4. Not gonna lie, we really did not enjoy the previous version of that SUV. The new one though, it's nice. It's got good tech, the standard hybrid engine gets the best fuel economy in the class, and this one is an easy SUV to recommend too. And if you're looking for a RAV4 or any other SUV in this video, we've got the tools to help you find the best deal. Head to Edmunds or check out the link in the description. If you need something with more space and a dollop of off-road capability, there's one SUV that's really impressing us right now, and it's the Subaru Outback. The Outback got a major overhaul for 2026, and the changes are obvious inside and out. Aside from the new looks, you also get a brand new interior space with a much better tech stack. The old Subaru infotainment was laggy and it was always washed out by the sun. This new setup is much faster, much crispier, and way easier to use. The new Outback is also a little bit bigger than it was before. The roof is a little bit taller, which means you get more room in the back for passengers and you get more cargo space than before. That's good. But the biggest improvement, to us at least, is the way this thing drives. It finally steers and stops and goes like a real car. It doesn't feel like it's going to flop over onto its side in the middle of a corner. There's a lot more composure without giving up all of that comfort that the old Outback had. Plus, it's a lot more off-road capable than a lot of other cars in this class. Subaru has been doing the off-road game for a long time, and it's clear in the new one. But for me personally, because I complain about this all of the time, is that the climate controls are now all physical buttons. Thank you so much, Subaru. Like, there's so many buttons to play with and touch and use, and they're way easier to get to and remember where they are while you're driving, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road. This is a huge improvement over stuff that's in the screen, and we get two way big thumbs up to Subaru for that. If you don't like the way the new Outback looks, you can go for the Honda Passport, which is a much more handsome thing. Pros for the Passport include really clicky, nice haptics, and also it's bigger, so there'll be more room for stuff and passengers, but because it's bigger and heavier, it's also worse on gas. The interior storage in this car is awesome. The cup holders are big, there's 3 levels of door pockets, there's plenty of cubbies, and a big shelf in the center console for a couple of cell phones with a rubberized tray so they won't slide around. This is good stuff. We like the Passport so much, we recently put one in our one-year road test fleet, so keep an eye on the channel. We'll be sure to let you know if anything goes wrong. For some buyers, you just need more seats. But don't worry, we've got plenty of experience with 3-row SUVs too. There are a few different sizes, and for something relatively affordable that doesn't feel too huge, the Kia Sorento is your best option. You can get a strong turbocharged engine, it's easy to drive smoothly, and Kia's driver assists are some of the best in the segment. We're impressed with the amount of space here too. There's more than enough room for car seats or friends in the back, and even adults can fit in the 3rd row. That's almost impossible to find at this price point. Almost. For most Kias, there is also a Hyundai version if you don't like the style, and vice versa. That would be the boxy Santa Fe, a sort of Land Rover style 3-row that has all the space, tech, and smooth driving that we like in the Sorento. And if you've got an old 3-row lying around and you want to trade it in, there's an easy free tool on our site that'll help you get a quote real quick. But if you really need 3 rows of seating and you have a little more cash to spend, there are very few cars that have stood out to us this year like the new Hyundai Palisade, especially the Palisade Hybrid. The design and materials of this interior feel like proper luxury, especially if you go for that peanut butter color. Also, the ride and noise levels feel appropriate for a luxury car at a price that lines up with minivans. Plus, if you get the hybrid, there's plenty of power and you get around 30 miles a gallon. There's a ton of space inside across all 3 rows, and at the top end, you'll find features in here that none of the competitors can match, especially ones at the same price. You can get heated and power reclining rear seats. The standard gas Palisade feels a little lethargic compared to other 3 rows, and fuel economy isn't great, but buy the hybrid and it's one of the best cars on sale. If the Palisade's not really your style, we also really like the Toyota Grand Highlander and the Hybrid Max if you can swing it. We bought one of those for our 1-year road test fleet, and the engine in this SUV makes it feel quick and confident, and you still get 27 mpg. It's huge inside too. If you need a lot of cargo space, only GM's options from Buick, Chevy, and GMC can touch it, but the Grand Highlander is just better overall. Tons of storage up front, super easy to fit a car seat, straightforward controls, good tech. If you want a no-nonsense 3-row and you like the way Toyota does things, the Grand Highlander won't disappoint. But if you need maximum space and you need to haul 3 rows of people around, or maybe a huge boat or RV too, you have to look at the big truck-based 3 rows, and the best one out there right now is the new Ford Expedition. It crushed the updated Tahoe in our comparison test earlier this year. It drives great, that twin-turbo V6 is pretty much untouchable in this segment for power delivery and smoothness. It's way more comfortable than the Tahoe over bumps and potholes, and there's a ton of space, both for people and cargo. Not to mention, interior storage up front is a big strong point. It'll tow nearly 10,000 pounds too, which is one of the biggest reasons to consider an SUV like this over something smaller like the Palisade or Grand Highlander. MPG isn't great, but that's just like every other SUV this size, and some people might hate the steering, especially because it's shaped like an oval, which is a bit weird. But if you need an SUV with this kind of capability, it's Expedition or nothing. For some buyers though, it is all about luxury. The BMW X1. This is a great little thing if you don't need a ton of space and you want to keep costs down. It's got good tech, a great engine, and some of that DNA we feel in the bigger BMW SUVs like the X3 and X5. It's really quiet around town too, which contributes to that luxury car feel that can be rare in smaller luxury SUVs. There's less space than you get in something like a RAV4 or the X3, but the X1 still has enough room in the trunk for a short road trip for 4, and there's plenty of legroom in both rows. The only potential red flag is the terrible stop-start system, but even with that, we'd happily park one of these in the garage. There's one small luxury SUV that really punches above its weight, and that's the Genesis GV70. I cannot believe how luxurious this thing feels. Ride comfort is better than almost anything in the segment, it's quiet inside, and the design and materials would feel appropriate in an SUV that costs 10 grand more. The tech is good on this huge wraparound screen, we like that it's spacious, we like the driver assist, and on and on and on it goes. There's even a pretty good electric version if that's your thing. It's a great value too. There are no missing features. It even has some stuff that the competition doesn't offer, like massaging ventilated seats, fingerprint recognition to start the car, remote smart parking. You can get a loaded one of these for a couple grand less than a loaded X3 with fewer features. Plus, you get that crazy Genesis 10-year warranty. If I had to pick one car to spend my own money on, it might be the GV70. I'll take a Sport Prestige in that silver over red leather. Delicious. But if you really want to step it up, our mid-size luxury SUV of choice is the Mercedes-Benz GLE. The GLE is just great. There are tons of customization options for the interior, for the paint colors, and there are a lot of different engine choices here. 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, 8 cylinders, a plug-in hybrid, and a super fast AMG version. There is an engine for anybody. But a car doesn't win our recommendation on engines and upholstery alone. The big downside is that the GLE can get really expensive when you start adding up the options, but the result is pretty excellent. Build quality and materials here are exceptional, and few cars feel so worth the money. Plus, the GLE is mega comfortable. You can get rapid heating and ventilated and massaging seats, and you can even save a couple bucks because we actually prefer the standard suspension over the more expensive air suspension. Plus, the standard MB Tech synthetic leather upholstery feels nicer than some of the pricier real stuff, and it'll hold up better too. The interior is elegant and spacious. Mercedes Tech is modern and feature-rich, and while it's not the easiest to use, you'll get used to it. You can even get a small third-row seat if you want. It's cramped for adults, but good if you ever need a couple extra seatbelts in a pinch. We don't have time to go through every little detail here, but if you want our full review of the GLE or any other car, plus how they rank up against the competition, it's on the Edmunds website. If your vibe is more campsite than 5-star luxury hotel, but you still want something cushy, we love the Lexus GX. We really dig this design. The upright grille and boxy profiles scream rugged off-roader, and the over-trill trim can really keep up when the going gets rough. But the GX is also a good luxury SUV. The ride feels a little trucky, but still composed, and the GX's twin-turbo V6 gives a lot of confidence from behind the wheel. Passing is no problem. The brakes and steering also make it pretty easy to drive smoothly. The tech is easy to use on that big screen, and you can get a killer audio system. The only big downside for the GX is space, or a lack of it. For a car that feels so big and goes through so much fuel, there isn't a ton of space in the second row or the available third row. We really like this car. It's a popular member of the one-year road test fleet, but if you need 3 rows of space in a luxury SUV, you're gonna wanna size up. And for that recommendation, we have to suggest the Mercedes GLS. What a car! All of the driving, safety, and infotainment tech you'd expect in a flagship Mercedes product is here. It's smooth, it's effortless, it's impossibly comfortable for longer drives, and like the GLE, there is a near endless amount of customization if you have the cash. There's room for adults in all 3 rows of seating, which is impossible to find in smaller luxury SUVs, and there's a big cargo area that you can expand with the power folding second and third row seats. There's just something special about the GLS that leaves us wanting in its competitors. If you want the ultimate 3-row and arguably the best SUV on sale, this is it. But there's one more SUV that we gotta call out, and it's the Lincoln Navigator. It is a serious luxury machine, especially if you get the black label. But the reason you buy one of these over the GLS is size and capability. The Navigator is built on a truck platform, which means 2 things. It is an unstoppable tow rig with a max capacity of 8,700 pounds, and that crushes other options like the GLS or the Escalade. If you want to tow a big luxury RV or a 25-foot wake and ski boat with your luxury SUV, the Navigator is your best option. Secondly, it's massive inside. If you go for the extra-large Navigator L, you can easily fit 7 people's luggage in the back. And with the seats folded down in that thing, you have an extra RAV4's worth of space compared to the GLS. This could be the ultimate family hauler. So what do you think? Would one of these fit your lifestyle? Is there a car that didn't top our rankings that you think deserves a call out? Let us know down in the comments. We read them, I swear. Oh, and if you like these kinds of videos and want us to keep making stuff like this moving forward, a like and subscribe is the best way to help us out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.